Dude, Futurama is such an awesome show. If you never watched it, then you straight up missed out on a fantastic cartoon. The show was created by Simpsons creator Matt Groening, and it follows protagonist Philip J. Fry. At the beginning of the show, Fry is a pizza delivery guy who's delivering a pizza to a science lab on New Year's Eve 1999. As the clock strikes midnight, he falls into a cryogenic tube and is frozen for 1,000 years. He wakes up on New Year's Eve 2999 to find the world to be a futuristic shell of the world he once knew. Later in the series, we find out that Fry being frozen wasn't exactly a mistake and that there's a lot more to the story than we were originally told. This show has many layers that make it so astounding. The futuristic tech, the evolved societal norms, and most of all, the colorful cast of characters. One of the aspects that most caught my attention though was the villains of Futurama. While most cartoons seem to change the villain but copy and paste their main goal, every antagonist in Futurama was wildly different. That's why today, we're looking at the top 5 most iconic villains from Futurama. Thank you very much for checking out my channel. It'd be awesome if you would subscribe. I post new videos every Wednesday and Friday, and by subscribing you're helping me out a ton and making sure you don't miss any of my videos. If you enjoy this video, make sure you hit that like button, and here we go, the top 5 most iconic villains from Futurama.
The only teeth strong enough to eat other teeth.
Number 5. Roberto. Roberto is a chaotic, evil, mentally insane robot. He loves 2 things, stabbing people and robbing banks. We first see Roberto appear in the season 3 episode, Insane in the Mainframe. The episode starts with Fry stressing about how he has no money in his retirement account, so he goes to the bank to deposit his last $6 into a savings account. Sadly, the bank has a $10 monthly fee, which leaves Fry's account at negative $4.
That we charge a $10 monthly fee.
You gotta spend money to make money.
Here you are, sir. Your account is now overdrawn by $4.
While Fry is doing his business at the bank, Roberto realizes Bender is in front of him in line, and they greet each other like a couple of old friends.
You old lunatic, how you been?
Ah, not bad.
Then, suddenly, Roberto pulls out a knife and starts robbing the bank. He asks Bender to help him and forces Fry to get the door for him. He pays them with a few bags of money as he runs off. The police pull up immediately and Fry and Bender are arrested. They go on a trial, being represented by a blue chicken who talks and acts kinda like Colonel Sanders. As their case goes sideways, mainly because Roberto's in the audience threatening Fry, they end up deciding to plea insanity at the recommendation of their lawyer.
Counselor, what evidence do you offer to support this new plea of insanity?
Well, for one, they done hired me to represent them.
Insanity plea is accepted.
They get sentenced to an insane asylum, but unfortunately all human asylums have been closed down, so they both go to the HAL Institute for Criminally Insane Robots instead. The first few days are spent with Fry suffering and trying to convince everyone that he isn't a robot, but none of the robots running the facility believe him. Meanwhile, Bender is having the time of his life in there. Fry's cellmate, who is an unstable robot who literally explodes anytime he is surprised, ends up getting let out on good behavior, so they bring in his new cellmate, who, of course, is Roberto, who got locked up for robbing the same bank a second time.
I got busted robbing that bank again.
Why would you hold up the same bank twice?
Ah, that first time was just to case the joint and rob it a little.
As Roberto gets comfortable in their tiny cell, he decides it's time for him to practice his stabbing, which he decides to do in Fry's direction. Next thing you know, Fry is being released on good behavior, as he came to the dramatic realization that he actually is a robot. They're releasing him because his delusions of humanity have gone away. Fry then proceeds to live his normal life working at Planet Express, but now as a robot.
Terminate noise exchange. It is time for you to ingest sandwiches from my compartment.
Bender, on the other hand, is really playing up his insanity by acting like Napoleon Bonaparte because he really likes being in the asylum.
Gonna sing a little tale about a battle called Waterloo. Bonjour, y'all!
Roberto ends up finding Bender and forcing him to help him escape, which they seem to do really easily.
In disguise, cause I'm thinking of escaping. You in? Or do I gotta kill you so you don't squeal?
I'm in. Hey, so when were you planning the breakout?
I'm thinking maybe a few seconds ago.
Quick, let's keep escaping.
It makes me wonder how they even keep any of the robots in there if it's really that easy to just walk right on out. After escaping, Roberto wants to repay Bender for helping him, so Roberto walks Bender into the same bank that he robbed twice to rob it for a third time. This time the police were waiting behind the counter in anticipation of being robbed by Roberto again. The two escape and go back to Planet Express, where Roberto turns on Bender and takes everyone hostage in a standoff against the police. Just as Roberto is trying to execute his first hostage, Fry wakes up from a drunken robot slumber to save the day. He ends up convincing Roberto that he is a battle droid, and Roberto, fearing for his life, jumps out of a window, crashing to the ground below where the police are waiting for him. Fry, having gotten cut during the altercation, realizes that since he's bleeding, he must actually be a human. The episode ends on a positive note with everyone being okay. This isn't the only time we see Roberto appear in the series, as he's a recurring character over many episodes and few movies that were made, but in my opinion, this is the most iconic episode that he was featured in. Number 4. Mom. Carol Miller, better known as Mom, is the CEO of Mom Corp, one of the biggest industrial conglomerates in the universe of Futurama that provides Earth with most of its robots. She made her first appearance in the season 1 episode, A Fish Full of Dollars.
Hello, shoppers. It's me, Mom.
Hey, who's the rocker jockey?
The public knows Mom as this sweet, big-hearted, matronly woman, but behind closed doors we realize that Mom is putting on a facade, and she's actually a bitter old hag in a suit that plays up her persona as being the loving mother of all the robots. The real Mom is a sociopathic megalomaniac. She will break any law she has in order to increase her profits. She attempts to take down any other company in hopes of monopolization. She even has a special device installed in every robot that makes it so she can force them to do her bidding at the click of a button. Let's take a closer look at Mom's debut episode.
Can I wear your fat suit?
No, Igner, put that down!
Oh.
On a note not related to Mom, the episode begins with one of my all-time favorite Futurama gags. Fry's having an embarrassing nightmare about being at school in his underwear, but it turns out that his nightmare is actually an advertisement for Lightspeed briefs. At work the next day, his friends explain how advertisers now broadcast commercials directly into your dreams, which Fry is just blown away by the concept of. This leads to everyone going to a mall to shop for some products that they saw in their dreams. While Fry is shopping for Lightspeed briefs that he can't afford, Bender is busy shoplifting Mom's old-fashioned robot oil, of which an ad just so happens to be playing at the mall at the same time.
That is, I'm sure there's a very reasonable...
The group goes to jail to pay Bender's fine, but they're about 50 cents short. Looking out the window, Fry sees the Big Apple Bank, which gives him the idea to see if his old account from 1,000 years ago is still open. I kinda chuckled at this because this is the same bank that Roberto robbed in the last episode we looked at when Fry is opening a new account there. I couldn't help but wonder why didn't Fry get the idea to see if his old account was open when he was there before, but of course that would have spoiled the continuity of the last episode. They go to the bank and Fry breaks out his old ATM card to find out that his 93 cents from 1,000 years ago gained interest over time, a little over 4 billion to be exact. Fry ends up living the high life, throwing a party with champagne and top hats, buying priceless artwork, and shooting priceless artwork with laser rifles. He ends up taking his friends to a pizza joint to buy everyone dinner. When Fry orders pizza, he attempts to order a pizza with his all-time favorite topping, anchovies. The robot taking the order is unable to compute his request, and its head literally explodes. Professor Farnsworth then explains to Fry that anchovies went extinct about 800 years prior because Dr. Zoidberg's species ate them all.
Stop! I admit it. My people ate them all. We kept saying one more can't hurt, and then they were gone. We're sorry.
Eventually, we see Fry end up at an auction where he buys Ted Danson's skeleton, as well as everything else for sale at the auction, including a can of anchovies from 1997, which is presumed to be the last can known to man. As Fry was attempting to buy the anchovies, he ends up in a vicious bidding war against Mom. Fry ends up paying $50 million for this can of anchovies that was probably less than $1 back in 1997. Fry then proceeds to spend days in his apartment sitting alone trying to pick up his life where it left off 1,000 years ago, much to his friend's dismay. Mom, on the other hand, is still very angry that she didn't get that can of anchovies. She explains that one drop of the anchovies' natural oil is enough to permanently lubricate 10 robots, and if used in a certain way, could put her out of business. She hatches an evil plan to bankrupt Fry by stealing all of his money so that he's forced to sell her the can of anchovies. It just so happens that Mom also runs a video surveillance company which has cameras in Fry's bank that caught him saying that his PIN is the price of a cheese pizza and a large soda at Panucci's Pizza where he used to work. As Mom leaves, she puts her sons/henchmen in charge of finding out Fry's PIN number.
Get his PIN number, you idiots! Now I'm off to some charity BS for knocked up teenage sluts.
The three henchmen knock Fry out with a tranquilizer and end up setting up a fake Panucci's Pizza and using Pamela Anderson's head to convince Fry that he's back in the year 2000 at work so they can figure out how much a cheese pizza and a large soda costs. Once they get the info they need, they knock Fry out again, only to dump him on the curb outside of his home after they've wiped his bank account clean. While Fry is unconscious, he has a realization that his friends are most important to him. He goes back to them and explains that he was robbed, and the only thing they didn't take was his can of anchovies. Just then, Mom walks in and says she wants to buy his anchovies, but Fry refuses because he wants to put them on a pizza to share with his friends.
Holy hell! You're going to eat them? Oh, well, just make sure you eat them all. You're a growing boy. Toodaloo! Dumbass.
What a nice lady.
After Mom leaves, Fry shares anchovy pizza with his friends, who all think it's absolutely disgusting, except Dr. Zoidberg, who has a violent need for more anchovies. Regardless, this episode is a prime example of how Mom will do whatever it takes to maintain the monopolization that she's created. Number 3. King Lur, ruler of Omicron Persei 8. Lur is one of the main villains of the show, having appeared in many episodes over the series run. His species is known for their intensely violent nature, killing for no reason, and eating almost anything. He does have one soft spot though, and that would be for Earth sitcoms. We see this in his debut episode, When Aliens Attack. This episode begins back in 1999 with Fry delivering a pizza and beer to a control room of a TV station. The station is currently running the season finale of the Fox sitcom Single Female Lawyer, which is a spoof of the show Ally McBeal. Fry ends up having a beer with the guy running the control room, and when Fry accidentally spills beer on the control panel, the season finale is cut short and the network experiences technical difficulties. We then cut to the planet Omicron Persei 8 1,000 light years away, where Lur and his wife are sitting on a hilariously small couch watching the show. When the technical difficulties arise, Lur vaporizes their TV in a blind fit of rage. Cut to the year 3000, where the Planet Express crew is enjoying a beautiful summer day at Monument Beach. All of a sudden, alien spaceships invade the Earth with a nice little nod to the movie Independence Day. The crew rushes back to Planet Express headquarters to see President McNeil on TV giving an address talking about how they need to bow down to their alien overlords, when Lur begins broadcasting a warning message demanding that they hand over the one they call McNeil. After Lur's broadcast, we cut back to President McNeil, now saying that they need to stand up to the aliens and not back down, assuming that he himself is the one they're demanding to be handed over. The Planet Express crew ends up being drafted to war on aliens, and every human with a spaceship ends up going to battle against the alien mothership, which absolutely backfires. After losing the battle, the president refuses to turn himself over, so he is forcibly turned over to the aliens, but when he's dropped off on their doorstep, Lur vaporizes him into a pile of ash and explains that he isn't the McNeil they want.
Give us McNeil!
That was McNeil.
No, McNeil, the single female lawyer.
She wears miniskirts and is promiscuous.
Really?
Silence! You will accept no more decoys. This is the McNeil.
He then threatens to raise the Earth's temperature by 1 million degrees per day until they get to see the end of Single Female Lawyer. While trying to come up with a solution, Fry asks how they would even know about a show from 1,000 years ago. Professor Farnsworth explains that Omicron Persei 8 is about 1,000 light years away from Earth, and the TV signal would have just gotten there after traveling such a far distance. Amy gets the idea to just give the aliens a tape of the final episode, but unfortunately that's out of the question.
There aren't any copies left.
No, there wouldn't be. Most videotapes from that era were damaged in 2443 during the Second Coming of Jesus.
The crew gets the idea to create their own ending to the final episode. We get another glimpse into the violent nature of Lur when he makes a comment about why the single female lawyer isn't taken seriously.
If McNeil wishes to be taken seriously, why does she not simply tear the judge's head off?
It is true what they say. Women are from Omicron Persei 7, men are from Omicron Persei 9.
Unfortunately, Fry, who was supposed to write the script, only wrote 2 pages and leaves Leela to wing it. She absolutely butchers it by proclaiming that she's giving up the law and proposes marriage to the judge, which seems to scare and anger Lur.
A
Attention, McNeil. Your unexpected marriage plan scares us. You stole our hearts as a single female lawyer, and so shall you remain, or else.
Fry writes a few short lines of dialogue that ends up killing off the judge and leaving the female lawyer single again, which pleases Lur and his species, so they agree to go back home. In the end, everything ends up on a positive note, and everything goes back to normal, except for New York, which is absolutely destroyed by the alien invasion. Number 2. Robot Santa Claus. Robot Santa Claus sounds rather endearing, but don't let his name fool you. He is a 4-ton robot who is designed to judge whether people were naughty or nice and sort out presents accordingly. Sounds great, right? Wrong. We first see Robot Santa appear in the episode Xmas Story. The episode centers around the Planet Express crew celebrating Christmas, or as they call it in the future, Xmas. Fry is feeling lonely because he has nearly no family left in the universe, except for Professor Farnsworth, of course. While he's wallowing in his sadness, he fails to realize that there's one other person who's even more lonely than he is, Leela. Leela, being an orphan and presumably the last of her alien species, has absolutely no family on Xmas. Fry wants to make her feel better, so he goes out on Xmas Eve to buy her a present, but everyone warns him to be back before sunset, so he doesn't get brutally murdered by Robot Santa Claus. When Fry fails to make it home before sunset, Leela goes out to save him. They end up being found by Robot Santa, and obviously Fry and Leela are on the naughty list, so Santa attempts to kill them, even though Fry offers to leave out cookies and milk for him. Fry and Leela end up being found by Bender, who's out mugging people with a group of homeless robots on Christmas Eve. They all run from Santa and go back to Planet Express headquarters. Santa breaks in through the chimney to confront everyone, and turns out that there's one person not on the naughty list, and that one person is Dr. Zoidberg.
You've all been very naughty indeed. Except you, Dr. Zoidberg. This is for you.
A pogo stick.
Eventually, Santa and Rudolph prepare themselves to explode, but Zoidberg helps save the day by bouncing on his pogo stick and sniffing a string of Christmas lights with his claws, which falls down and shocks Santa. While he's being shocked, Leela kicks him into the fireplace, which is secured by a vault door. They close the door, leaving Santa to explode and blow himself out the chimney. With Santa defeated, the crew is left to celebrate Xmas in peace, while everything ends on a happy note. Number 1. The Robot Devil. Beelzebot, otherwise known as Robot Devil, is the ruler of Robot Hell, which is housed within the hidden funhouse of an old abandoned amusement park. He has traits and features similar to that of traditional devils depicted in most religions. The Robot Devil might be my favorite Futurama villain of all time, mainly because he's just as hilarious as he is evil. My all-time favorite episode featuring the Robot Devil is called The Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings. The episode begins with Fry attempting to play an instrument called a holophoner in secrecy. Bender hears him playing in the middle of the night, and Fry explains that he wants to learn to play it so he can impress Leela. Fry invites Bender to come to his recital that's coming up soon. The day of the recital comes, and we learn that Fry is actually taking a class for children to learn to play the holophoner. The holophoner itself is a futuristic instrument that loosely resembles a colorful clarinet. When you play it, holographic images appear to come out of it, and the person playing the holophoner can control what images appear. The kid who plays before Fry plays a beautiful song that shows images depicting a man playing a piano, then proceeding to dance with a woman, and then it turns into them jumping over barrels Donkey Kong style. Fry goes on next, and he poorly plays a sad song called The Grumpy Snail. The images appear in the form of a snail moving across a small tree branch, but the worse Fry plays, the more grotesque the snail appears, which scares the kids and makes everyone angry at Fry. After that, he gets kicked out of holophoner class.
Woo!
Mr. Bender, I simply cannot teach your child.
Then good day, madam. We hope to see you soon for tea.
Fry ends up complaining to Bender about his hands not being able to keep up with his playing, and Bender suggests that Fry makes a deal with the Robot Devil. They descend into Robot Hell as Robot Devil is playing music with his band, of which he is the fiddle player, of course. The Devil makes a deal with Fry that he'll spin a wheel of robots, and whichever one it lands on, he will swap Fry's hands with. The Devil's plan, as you can see from where the wheel starts when he spins it, is that Fry will end up swapping hands with Bender, but the plan backfires when the wheel skips over Bender and lands on Robot Devil, forcing him to swap hands with Fry instead.
At last! At last I have the power to make Leela love me!
Oh, sorry, that'll wear off in a couple of days.
After Fry returns back to Planet Express headquarters to show off his new hands to everyone, the Robot Devil comes to Fry begging to have his old hands back, but Fry refuses.
Oh, give me back my hands! These things are always touching me in places.
Yeah, they get around. But I'm afraid we had a deal.
Fry got exactly what he wanted. Overnight, he becomes a sensational holophoner playing star. He impresses his old teacher, he plays for a packed crowd at Hover Carnegie Hall, and he even has a TV commercial for an album he put out, much like the ones you'd see on TV when you wake up at 3 a.m. when you were a kid.
Get the Ultimate Love Songs collection on 2 CDs for just $26.99. But wait.
Some time passes, and Hedonism Bot comes to Fry requesting to commission him to write an opera. Fry agrees as long as he can write the opera about Leela. Leela is flattered by the idea, and she ends up hearing Fry as he's writing the opera, which makes her realize that she's falling for him.
Oh, Fry, all this time you've had this incredible gift and I never knew. I've been a fool, a fully justified, prudent fool. Ah, they're so cold!
And yet hell is so hot! Can I have my hands back now?
No!
You're not nice!
After this, we see the start of the Robot Devil's evil plan to get his hands back. He makes a deal with Bender, trading Bender's ass plate for an obnoxiously loud horn that he can use to annoy people. The Robot Devil suggests that Bender blast the first person that he sees, which just so happens to be Leela. He blasts her so hard that she goes deaf, leaving her unable to hear Fry's opera that he's writing about her. We also get a glimpse into how devilishly evil the Robot Devil really is.
Oh, how delightfully ironic!
It's not ironic, it's just mean! Take this!
Ooh, out of aerosol. Also ironic.
Oh, yeah? Well, bite my shiny metal. Oh, no!
The day of Fry's opera comes, and at the halfway intermission, Leela mentions that she would do anything to be able to hear the other half of the opera. The Robot Devil then appears and gets a deaf Leela to agree to a vague trade of a pair of robot ears for her left hand. As the opera goes on, the Devil storms the stage and demands his hands back. And when Fry refuses, he reveals that he will now take Leela, as the contract she signed actually promised her hand in marriage. Left defeated and broken, Fry agrees to give up the Robot Devil's hands so that Leela isn't confined to hell with him for all eternity. After the Devil's magic surgery, Fry attempts to play with his old hands and gets booed off stage. Sitting alone and feeling down, Fry sits on the stage in the concert hall as he lays his holophoner down, planning to quit forever, until he sees Leela still sitting in the audience, who asks him to keep playing so she can hear how the opera ends. The episode ends on a bittersweet note as Fry and Leela share a touching moment together, listening to Fry's absolutely horrendous playing. Thanks for watching this video. On screen now you'll see a few of my other videos that you should definitely watch. Don't forget to hit that like button on this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more videos just like this one. Follow me on Twitter at DuskTillShawn9, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.